The ocean was quiet that morning, calm as glass beneath a pale rising sun. The little baby shark swam through the soft light, his fins slicing through the still water with gentle grace. Around him, the sea shimmered in shades of blue and silver, and every movement created a soft trail of bubbles that drifted behind him like a sleepy whisper. He followed the familiar edge of his reef, where tall coral towers reached toward the surface like fingers catching the light. Small fish darted through the gaps, and seagrass swayed in the rhythm of the current. Everything was peaceful and full of morning calm. But as he swam farther from home, the reef began to change. The colors grew darker, the coral thinner. The sand below sloped downward in long, smooth ridges, and the sound of the sea grew deeper, like the quiet breathing of something ancient. The baby shark slowed, listening. Then he heard it. A faint hum, low and steady, rising from the depths below. It wasn't the sound of water or fish or waves. It was something else, something that seemed to vibrate inside him. He turned his head, trying to hear more clearly. The hum grew stronger, then faded, then rose again in slow rhythm. It sounded like a song. Curiosity stirred in his chest. He had never heard such a sound before. It called to him softly, inviting him to follow. He glided forward, careful and calm, letting the current guide him. The reef ended completely now, replaced by open blue water that stretched downward into darkness. He could see faint shapes far below, long lines that curved and fell into shadow. The sound grew louder. He descended slowly, his small fins moving with the pulse of the song. The light above thinned to silver, and the water grew cool. The slope below deepened into a wide canyon carved through the ocean floor. Its walls rose high on either side, smooth and dark, marked with long ancient lines as though the sea itself had written across them. The baby shark hovered at the entrance, his heart beating faster. The humming sound filled the water now. It echoed through the canyon walls, rising and falling in deep tones. When one sound ended, another began, overlapping like voices singing in harmony. He realized it wasn't one song but many. A chorus of the ocean's own echoes. Every vibration bounced from the stone, traveling through the current like invisible waves of light. The baby shark drifted into the canyon. The sound surrounded him immediately. It wasn't loud, but it was everywhere in the water, in the sand, in his body. He could feel it against his fins and through his chest. It made the world seem alive, every surface humming with its own quiet voice. As he swam deeper, he began to hear patterns. Some echoes were low and slow, like the calls of distant whales. Others were soft and high, like the notes of tiny shells clinking together. The sounds wove together into something more than music, a story, told in vibration instead of words. The canyon was speaking, and the little shark was listening. He passed over smooth rocks that glimmered faintly in the filtered light. Each one seemed to vibrate in rhythm with the echoes, sending tiny ripples across the sand. When he brushed near them, the sound changed slightly, as if the sea were responding to his presence. He realized that every movement he made sent a new echo through the water. The canyon didn't only sing, it listened back. The deeper he swam, the richer the sound became. The echoes layered and folded over one another until they formed a vast harmony that pulsed through the entire space. It was not chaotic but balanced, like the sea had practiced this song for centuries. The baby shark felt small within it, but he did not feel afraid. The sound welcomed him, carrying his tiny presence within its rhythm. He wondered who had created this music. Was it the whales who called across the oceans? Was it the shifting stones themselves, shaped by time? Or perhaps it was the memory of the sea, every voice that had ever spoken, still echoing in its depths. Whatever it was, it felt alive, ancient, and kind. He drifted deeper into the canyon, following the echoes that grew brighter in his heart, even as the light faded around him. He did not know where the sound would lead, but he knew he would follow it until the sea revealed its secret. The deeper the little baby shark swam, the more the sound transformed around him. What had begun as a low hum now unfolded into layers of tone that drifted through the water like ribbons of light. Some vibrations moved fast, rippling through the sand beneath him, while others rolled slowly across the canyon walls, deep and steady. It was as if the ocean itself was breathing in music. He moved with slow, careful strokes, his body gliding between the tall rock faces that rose like cliffs on either side. Streams of faint light slipped down from the surface far above, glimmering across the dark stone. Wherever the light touched, the echoes shimmered back in response. Quiet waves of sound turning the canyon into a living instrument. The little shark could almost see the music now. Each rock, each crevice, each ripple of the seafloor held a different voice. Some sang high and clear like the sound of a distant flute. Others rumbled low like thunder far away. Together they formed a melody that seemed endless, winding and weaving through the sea. The baby shark listened closely. Beneath the many layers of sound, there was a pattern, a gentle rhythm that matched the slow pulse of the tide. The canyon wasn't just a place of echoes. It was a great memory, a recording of the ocean's own heartbeat. He drifted toward one of the canyon walls, curious about the sound that came from it. The stone was smooth, but when he brushed his fin against it, a deep note resonated outward, rolling through the water like a bell. The echo returned almost immediately, but softer, as though the canyon were answering his touch. He moved a little farther and tapped again, this time with the tip of his tail. Another note rang out, lower than the first. He smiled inside himself. He was part of the music now. The echoes that followed began to change. They repeated in different pitches, blending with the natural song of the canyon. The baby shark realized that every creature that passed through here left its own sound behind, a small contribution to the endless symphony of the sea. The whales, the fish, even the slow-moving turtles, each left vibrations that lingered long after they were gone. The Sea of Echoes was the ocean's memory, carrying the voices of everything it had ever held. He swam deeper still, where the water grew colder and the light dimmer. The canyon opened suddenly into a vast chamber, wide and round like the inside of a giant shell. The sound here was different, softer, slower, almost like a lullaby. The water shimmered faintly, filled with tiny bubbles that caught what little light remained and reflected it in quiet pulses. The baby shark hovered near the center of the chamber, letting the sound wash over him. The echoes here were older, deeper. They did not rush or overlap. They spoke in long, slow tones that seemed to come from far away, from the very bones of the ocean itself. He listened carefully and thought he could almost make out words, not in any language he knew, but in feeling, rest, remember, return. He stayed there for a long time, floating between sound and silence. The music of the canyon soothed him, its deep notes vibrating softly through his body. He thought about the voices he had heard throughout his young life, the playful chatter of dolphins, the whispering shells that hummed on the reef, the deep calls of whales that drifted through the open sea. All of them were here, in this place, echoing together in perfect harmony. The longer he listened, the more he understood that the Sea of Echoes did not belong to the past alone. It was alive in every moment, collecting and repeating the songs of the living ocean. Even his own soft movements added new threads to the sound. The baby shark realized that his small voice, though quiet, mattered too. The sea heard everything. He brushed his fin gently along the stone once more, sending a final note into the chamber. It rose into the water and lingered there, blending with the deeper tones before fading into silence. For a moment, the echoes grew still as though listening back. Then a single low note rolled out from the canyon wall, deep and kind. It was an answer, the sea acknowledging him. The baby shark's heart filled with warmth. He felt connected to everything, to the whales that sang in the distance, to the tiny fish that whispered through coral, even to the slow rhythm of the earth beneath the water. The echoes were not just sounds. They were reminders that every voice, no matter how small, was part of the ocean's song. When the current shifted, the music began to fade. The tones grew softer, melting into the steady hush of the deep sea. The baby shark turned slowly toward the light above, ready to return. As he rose, the echoes followed him, quiet at first, then rising once more in gentle waves. The canyon was saying goodbye, carrying his sound into its great memory. He swam upward, the water warming with every stroke. The faint blue of the surface grew brighter. The song of the Sea of Echoes grew distant, but never disappeared. It followed him like a soft heartbeat, steady and true. When the little baby shark finally rose from the canyon, the water around him brightened into the soft glow of late afternoon. The surface shimmered far above, and the familiar colors of the reef began to return. Yet as he swam, he could still feel the gentle hum of the echoes behind him. They had settled into the rhythm of his heartbeat, a quiet reminder that the sea was never truly silent. He reached the open plain of sand near his home and paused to rest. The current brushed lightly against his fins, and the water seemed to breathe around him. Every now and then, he thought he could still hear faint sounds from below, low tones rising from the canyon, traveling through the deep. They were softer now, but full of warmth, like voices singing from far away. The baby shark realized that the ocean was speaking all the time. Its waves, its tides, even its silence carried messages. The Sea of Echoes had taught him that sound never truly vanished. It simply changed form and found new ways to live. Every word, every song, every heartbeat became part of the ocean's endless story. He swam through the coral gardens, listening with new ears. The crackle of shrimp sounded brighter, the hum of distant currents deeper. Even his own fins made tiny ripples that added to the symphony around him. The reef was alive with music he had never noticed before. He understood now that the sea did not need him to speak loudly. It only needed him to listen closely. As evening fell, the water darkened into shades of violet and silver. The stars above began to appear, their reflections trembling on the waves. The baby shark settled near a coral arch and let the current cradle him. The sea around him hummed softly, the same slow rhythm he had heard deep in the canyon. It was the sound of connection, the song that tied every creature to the next, from the smallest shell to the mightiest whale. He closed his eyes, letting the sound fill him until it became part of his breathing. Somewhere far below, the Sea of Echoes continued its song, carrying his voice among countless others. The ocean remembered, always.